Burning Question, powered by LG OLED and Tata Motors.
Thank you for joining us on the Burning Question. I'm Niranjan at 8 p.m. It's election season. In 1 year from now, there are going to be elections in Karnataka, maybe lesser than that, in a few months perhaps. And Karnataka has been one of the most polarized states. In fact, the last 1 year has been extremely polarizing in Karnataka because politicians are finding it easy to divide people, divide societies, and then find issues that will ensure that religion gets them votes. That's the reality. We'll tell you all about what's happening in Karnataka on a move to modernize education tonight being used to win votes, to divide people, and to create a fear in the minds of people. We'll tell you all about that. That's our top focus. Here are the headlines. BJP's Amit Malviya to file a complaint against the Wire for a series of fake news attacking him. The Editors Guild gives a soft statement, spares the Wire almost. It won't call out the fabrication or the fraud. A DMK leader has made the most disgusting, shameful comments against Khushbu Sundar and other women politicians. He hasn't been sacked by the DMK or Stalin. NIA FIR reveals a sensational terror plot. Investigators recover jihadi literature, radicalization proven, the state government proven wrong. Donald Trump promises Hindu Holocaust memorial, triggers a debate on Hindu genocide. As the United Nations meeting in Mumbai concludes, India shares intricate details on Pakistan and its terror plot on one of the biggest attacks on Indian soil. And here's the story so far: the Karnataka government's move to modernize Arabic schools. They conducted a survey. They found out that most of the Arabic schools in Karnataka were not following the rules. Now, the Karnataka government then decided to do something that other states are doing. States like Uttar Pradesh, states like Assam, to modernize the education system. They've asked Arabic schools to ensure that steps are taken to modernize the curriculum and to ensure that rules are followed. Now, it's a simple advice, simple guideline that is being asked to be followed, but politicians, political parties making it about religion, saying that in binaries, it's a BJP government going after the Muslim community, not looking at the bigger picture of the need to modernize education in Karnataka. Here's the story and then the debate.
Karnataka government has ordered a survey of state government-run Arabic schools in the state following complaints of poor quality of education.
We decided to have a survey of Arabic schools, and we have come to know that they are not running the schools according to the education, whatever the prescribed by the education department. So after getting the reports, we will take action.
Karnataka government has issued a new circular regarding the Arabic schools and the syllabus which is being followed by it, which comes under the purview of the state government, which is both aided schools as well as unaided schools as well. This comes on the backdrop of the surveys which was conducted by the state government of Karnataka on the madrasa, stating that there was not enough enrollment, and in this particular regard, if there is not enough enrollment, they will have to be shut down.
This move has triggered a big political fight.
बहुत सारे सवाल उठते हैं कि क्या उनको एक तरह से बंद करने के लिए या उनकी संख्या कम करने के लिए कोशिश की जा रही है, जबकि उस अल्पसंख्यक समुदाय के पास वैसे ही शिक्षा के हासिल करने के मौके कम हैं।
और 1300 साल से वो पढ़ा रहे हैं और उसमें जो एक्सपर्ट्स बनते हैं वो आके उनका एक्सपर्टाइज जहाँ काम में आता है वहाँ काम पे लगे हुए हैं। अब इसको आरएसएस और बीजेपी के लोग या हुकूमत में वो जो हैं वो लोग जानते हैं ये एक्सपर्ट से ज्यादा। इट्स अ लाफिंग मैटर।
Assam and Uttar Pradesh too have surveyed madrasas to improve the quality of education. Can the bid to modernize education be communalized? Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Karan Verma, author and political analyst, joining us in the debate along with Dr. Suman C. Raman, political analyst, Atikur Rahman, Islamic scholar, and Smriti Harris also joining us of the BJP Karnataka. But let me start with Atik. Atik, what's wrong? What do you think is wrong? Atik, you're a scholar and Islamic scholar, and what's wrong in modernizing education, modernizing Arabic schools? If they are getting government funds, what is wrong with it?
Niranjan, you are correct. There is absolutely nothing wrong in modernizing education. There is nothing wrong even taking up Arabic and the madrasa school education by the governments. What is wrong is if in the course of modernizing you are violating Article 26 to Article 30 of the Constitution of India, wherein religious schools rights have been given by the Constitution to frame their own syllabus, own language, own script, their own culture. If the government of India, the government of the state is very much clean in their heart, by their heart, they are, we will be accepting their changes, their amendments. But here, that Karnataka government and the Karnataka elections, their intent, and the BJP, the RSS-led BJP, their intent, can we close our eyes on that? Do the BJP government and the RSS look at the minority Muslim community as a dead fish which swims with the stream? You cannot. You cannot. So if they are having such a clean intention, let them draft a policy, present a white paper on the floor of the assembly, go ahead. And UP, the madrasa officials are very much inviting the officials, the bureaucrats, and they are not finding anything. Call the Kerala governor, who day in and day out say that in madrasas there are terrorism being
Atikur Rahman, correct me if I'm wrong.
Where is terrorism?
Atik, if I can quickly just make a short intervention there and get Smriti Harris. Smriti Harris, I hope I got your name correct. Smriti Harris, is that how you pronounce it? I'm just checking. Okay, Smriti, so tell me if I'm wrong. Atik says the government should be presenting a white paper. Now, there is something already on paper, right? Atik, I'll tell you what's on paper. On paper, the education department, we are told, spends nearly 25 crore annually. Okay? Yes. On Arabic schools in Karnataka, 25 crore. On paper. This is on paper. On paper, they are receiving funds from the government to teach as per the direction of the education board. Now, there are guidelines. Now, if those guidelines are not being followed, Smriti Harris, is your government trying to say that these schools are openly defying the government and the education board to create their own rules, and you're simply asking them to follow the rules? Is that correct? Is there a need for a white paper?
What I would like to remind our scholar here is that no individual or community is above the law, nor are they insulated from the law. So all that our government over here is trying to do is act on a complaint. We have ordered for a survey to find out if there are any irregularities in the education that is being provided in these Arabic schools. If there are no rules being flouted, I mean, if they're complying with all the educational laws, I don't see why they should fear anything. All that we're trying to do here is to ensure that our children are receiving the best education possible. We don't want any indoctrination imposed upon them. We want to, nourish in them a sense of scientific inquiry and not blind belief. And this is the purpose of education, right? To rise above all of these blind faiths and also to, kind of build in themselves a kind of scientific inquiry. And I think that is the intention of the government, to ensure that all our children have the right to quality education. So as long as the madrasas, as long as the Arabic schools are following the guidelines of our education department, they have nothing to fear.
Yeah, let me flip that question, Sumant, and just ask you a question, and you can take it forward with Karan. Let's assume the Karnataka government was giving the same amount, 25 crore rupees to, let's say, for the sake of argument, the Hindu Trust Board. I don't know whether a board like that exists. But if you do give that amount of money, would you expect the Hindu Trust Board to adhere to the education board and the rules?
Look,
You would, right?
Niranjan, let's be very clear on this. Wherever the government is providing funding, it has a right to supervise and ensure that its guidelines are followed. I don't think any of us in this debate is going to have any objections to that. Where the issue comes in is this entire matter, because of the sensitivity of the issue involved and the fact that it is being done less than a year from the elections in Karnataka. Obviously, there will be questions asked as to whether this is another attempt at further polarization. Now, the governments, not only in Indian states, governments in different parts of the world have moved, including the UK, have moved to put in measures to ensure that what happens, to ensure that radicalization is not happening in classes at madrasas and so on. This is happening in many countries. So I don't fault the Karnataka government on this particular issue. The point is, this is another way of sort of calling out. I mean, I don't want to use the word dog whistle, but it is effectively a kind of a way of provoking and trying to polarize the electorate further, saying that we are clamping down on the schools of a particular community. So I think that is where it is suspect. Rather than, in principle, will anyone have a problem with the government which gives 35 crores wanting that those schools to observe a certain set of guidelines?
Yeah.
I don't think it's anybody in this debate will even have a problem with that. It's because of who's saying it and when they are saying it, then it becomes suspect.
I'll tell you. It's a very nice argument.
For example, the hijab.
Yeah. No. I'll tell you. It's a nice argument. I'll tell you the argument. You said the timing is suspect, right? Atik finds the timing suspect when Yogi does it after an election, not before an election. After an election, if Yogi does it, timing is suspect. Himanta Biswa Sarma wins an election, becomes the chief minister, then does it, it is suspect. Karnataka government does it 1 year before the election.
Doing it consistently,
timing is suspect.
They started with the hijab. Look, the three states are not comparable for the simple reason that in UP, for instance, the electorate was already in a fairly significantly polarized state, which resulted in the huge mandate that the BJP got again and Yogi ji got again. So in Karnataka, it looks like a very tight election. There is a lot of anti-incumbency in Karnataka. Certainly, there's even talk that the BJP may still want to replace Mr. Bommai and choose somebody else to lead them into the election. And the Congress is putting up a spirited fight. So it's not even comparable.
But why are we going so far? My question was why
the victory was in doubt, and it was never a doubt as to which party was going to win.
No, I agree with you that parties are trying to polarize. On that front, I agree with you because the hijab was an engineered protest. We all know that. We know who engineered it as well. That group has now been banned. The Campus Front of India has been banned by India and the Popular Front of India. But my question was...
hijab wearing was never a problem earlier in the same colleges.
Exactly. So, like I said...
Why was it stopped?
Like I said, I completely agree with you. It was a manufactured, engineered sort of a protest by the Campus Front of India.
My question is, the same students are on record saying that they have been wearing the hijab to the same institution for years on end. Now suddenly it is stopped. So who did it? Why should the Campus Front be responsible for stop.
No.
for,
The Campus
raising the
Front of
issue.
India.
You stop
I'll tell you. Okay, we're diverting now. I'm just pulling back a little bit, because the Campus Front of India said we have made students aware of their rights, because they could wear hijab inside the school, they could wear
those
hijab inside
who
the
were wearing
compound,
already were
inside the
stopped.
cafeteria.
Why?
But only inside the classroom was the problem for several decades. But I'm not getting into that right now. I'm coming back to the quality of education. My point was, Karan, you know what the government...
Yes.
Okay, now you heard the political argument, the vendetta argument, the witch hunt argument, and the communal argument. Now I'll tell you.
Right.
The government says around 200 Arabic schools are registered with the Karnataka Education Board. We received complaints that students of these schools aren't capable of competing with students
Correct.
of other schools, as they don't have a proper standard of education. Now come to the merit of it. Okay, this is the argument. Argument is standard of education at these Arabic schools may
Niranjan.
not be at par with the best educational institutions. It's a simple argument, okay? And they are saying we are trying to make these children as competent as the others. Now, you please tell Atikur Rahman what is wrong with that. Atik has a little bit of knowledge about this, and I'm sure he will agree with you on some points as well. Karan.
No, Niranjan, I have quite a lot of knowledge on this, because I happen to know Mr. Danish, who is the Minority Affairs Minister here in UP, and I saw the work that the Yogi government did on the modernization of madrasas, exactly along the same parameters. We had a survey here, and today you'll be happy to know that the BJP government, which they abuse time and again as communal or dog whistle or whatever, they have given scholarships to over 20 lakh Muslim students over the past 5 years. Today in madrasas, TET qualified teachers are teaching. Their entire education is on an app which has been created by UP Desco. And I think they want to replicate the same thing in Karnataka. The fact of the matter is that when a government actually wants to conduct a survey and do something for the upliftment of a community, people like Atikur Rahman butt in and they talk about Article 26. People like Sumansi Raman, who actually initially said that it is fine, it is nice, suddenly see politics in it, suddenly see an election which is coming a year later in it. Truth is, here is a government that actually wants to solve this issue. And till we are going to have these sort of dog whistles by people like Sumansi Raman and Atikur Rahman, these issues are going to get derailed. On the contrary, they should come up with constructive suggestions. How can we improve the quality of education? Nobody is touching the Dini aspect of education in this.
No, but why is it? No. Can I ask you something?
Education.
Can I flip the argument? One of the things that Sumansi Saman said is a sensitive issue. Why is it a sensitive issue? I want to know, why is it a sensitive issue, Suman? Why is it a sensitive issue?
Okay, let me. If the government had said, look, we aim to improve the quality of education across schools in Karnataka, and we are implementing the following steps. And this will include schools that teach Arabic, and we are going ahead with such a project. Where is the question of anybody having an objection to that? The question comes when you isolate a set of schools and say that these are the schools that the standards are poor.
Because there is a complaint here.
One second, sir. I do not know also whether they have objectively put out any data to say that these schools are significantly poorer or students from these schools are significantly worse off than schools.
That is why a survey is being conducted, because there have been regular complaints. And here is a government that actually wants to ensure that Muslims are a part of the mainstream and they rise to the high positions. So instead of appreciating that, let's not get into rhetoric.
One second.
Yeah.
The quality of education in Muslim schools only is poor, and the quality of education in all other schools is of a high standard.
Of course it is. Indicators after indicators, think tanks after think tanks are pointing out that in Muslim-run Iman schools, we need to introduce subjects like maths and science.
The quality of education is uniformly poor across government schools and government-aided schools, not just in one state, but in most states across India. There may be a few exceptions, places like Delhi, etc., which are setting the pace.
We are going to brush everything.
No, please go and see the assessment report which comes out every year. 8th standard students are not able to do 3rd standard mathematics. Go and see the report, sir. Open your eyes. Don't selectively target one religion and say only their schools are bad and other schools are all great.
No, but religious. I don't think there are other religious schools. Just to play devil's advocate, I'm not sure. I'm not sure there are other religious schools. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you can't call a Shaka a school. It's not a school because Atik will tell you, Shaka run schools. But you go see the schools. No, 1 minute. Atik, I'm just flipping the argument. Atik, you should attend one of the schools run by the RSS if they do run schools. I know they do run some educational institutes. You should see it. I'll tell you, okay, as I'm just flipping the argument, right? Let's be anecdotal, right? Your child, my child, if all of us have children one day, we would want them to be extremely competent and get the best education, right? It's as simple as that in a highly competitive world, right? It's as simple as that. Atik, you know about how schools are run,
yeah,
right? What's wrong? Okay, you leave the politics aside, but is there a need, Atik? Be honest, be truthful, okay? Is there a need to improve education in Arabic schools?
Let us take this argument in a very, very, very positive manner. Let us take the argument in a very, very positive manner. That the Karnataka government and the BJP government across the length and breadth of India, they want to improve the minority education, the Muslim education, madrasa, Arabic. I agree, 100%. Now you go to provide scientific temperament to the madrasas with a bulldozer, with the intention of the Kerala governor that the madrasas are teaching terrorism. You go that they are unauthorized, they are illegal, they have never been sanctioned by the state. Is this the way you uplift a child? If you want to uplift a community, Niranjan, you need to pull them by the shoulders, not by their legs, for God's sake.
I agree with you on that. On that part, I agree. Can the tone... Okay, let Smriti respond to this. Smriti, do you think the approach can be better? Because instead of being outlandish...
So far, we have not penalized any school. We are in the process of collection of data. All that the government is trying to now do is act on the complaints that the department has received by saying that we will do a thorough survey of the education methodology in these schools, see if the pedagogy prescribed by the government is being followed, and then we will take a call on what needs to happen to these Arabic schools. So at this point in time, it's a very, very amiable approach. It's a very scientific approach that the government is having. So when he says that they're pulling them by the neck, I don't understand what exactly they mean. I think over here, what has repeatedly happened is that sometimes certain leaders or certain individuals, for their own personal benefit, try to make use of the community card and play the victim card, and then, because of which the entire community suffers. Right? Here we are trying to do something good for the future of our country, for the future of this community, and here they come in and say that, you are trying to impose the beliefs upon us. That's not at all what the government is trying to do over here. We're only trying to provide them with quality education. We want to know, and perhaps there are some, Arabic schools that are doing a fantastic job at it. Maybe we can, make a model out of those schools, publish a document on that and replicate the same in other Arabic schools. So why are they not looking at it in a positive light? So a survey is only going to bring out the findings. It could be positive, it could be negative, it could be neutral. I'm sure some schools are going to perform exceedingly well and some others maybe not so. So let's take the best learnings from the survey and then make use of them.
No, I'll tell you, I'll flick the... Okay, just one let me just... 1 minute.
So,
no, just one small question. One small question. Can I ask you something, Smriti? There are several leaders in your party. Some of them are very senior. Okay, and I'll be very specific about Karnataka. For example, there are leaders like Ishwarappa, very senior leader, right? He makes controversial comments. I'm not saying leaders from other political parties don't, right? We've questioned them enough. But if your approach was perhaps different, right, and more inclusive, maybe if the tone was different, that would make a lot of difference, is what, Sumansi Raman was trying to tell, right? But perhaps your tone also indicates that there is an attempt to obviously polarize. I mean, you're not fooling anyone on that one.
See, we cannot polarize kids. These are kids whose lives that we are trying to improve. The intent over here is definitely not polarization. Also, I don't understand what people mean by this term polarization, because sometimes it is so vaguely used. even in the case of the hijab, while on one hand we see women burning hijab as a sign of protest because they see it as a symbol of oppression, on the other hand, here in India, we have people calling it the sign of liberation. Right? I mean, what exactly do they mean?
That's a bad example. Bad example. Smriti, I wasn't referring to that. I wasn't referring to that. Hijab is a very bad example. There's a right and a wrong. Hijab protest was wrong. Let's not even get there. Let's not even get there.
It is the choice of the woman. If she wants, she wears a hijab. If she doesn't want, she doesn't wear it.
No, but one second. But Suman, if in India, if in India it happens, it's a movement. Everyone talks about it. But in Iran, if it happens and people are burning the hijab,
the principle is the same.
No, it's not. It's not. They don't talk about it. They don't talk about it. They didn't have the courage to talk about it.
Freedom of choice.
They didn't have the courage to talk about it, Suman. The same people who spoke out during the hijab protest, they didn't have the courage to say a word.
Why is this so difficult to understand? Whether it is in Iran,
no, I understand.
Nobody is saying a woman should not wear a hijab in Iran. The bottom line, even these protesters are not saying that no woman should wear a hijab in Iran. They are only saying that let there be a freedom of choice for them to decide that. That is all. In India, the issue is the same. Why are we pushing? If the religious leaders of the Muslim community force their women into wearing hijabs, that is just as wrong. There's no doubt about it.
No, 1 minute. I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. Suman, you spoke about leaders. I'll tell you.
He doesn't want to wear it.
I'll tell you. Let me tell you. Okay. Did 1 minute. Smriti, 1 minute. Smriti, 1 minute. 1 minute. I'll cite two examples. Two recent examples, Smriti. Hear me. I'll cite two examples. Recent examples, okay? There was a leader called Shafiqur Rahman Bark, a parliamentarian, mind you. He's an MP of the Samajwadi Party. You know what he said? In Islam, women have to wear the burqa and go out in public.
Sorry.
Yes, he did.
Look, there will always be extreme views.
Extreme, no. These are leaders. And if political leaders say such things,
does not make it correct.
No, but it happens. They said it. He's a political leader. Considered a very influential Muslim leader in Uttar Pradesh. Obviously, people will take him seriously, right? And then they will enforce the hijab.
Muslim woman.
So, by that logic, Niranjan.
No, but I'm telling you, he said it.
By that logic.
He said it, Atik. He said it. None of you came and condemned him. Nobody condemned him. I asked Mr. Owaisi that question. Mr. Owaisi said it's his personal view. Did Mr. Owaisi also condemn stand with the women of Iran? He didn't say a word. You stand with Muskan, but you won't stand with the women of Iran. Please tell me why.
We should rescue the women of Shafiqur Rahman Bark first from our family. They need rescue rather than the entire globe, you know.
Yeah, that's a very rare statement. I'm going to take a clip of this, please.
But anyway, our debate is getting digressed.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is not the debate, Niranjan. Let us come back to the debate.
Yeah. Come back. Okay, last point. Go ahead.
Harris is on her mark saying, Mrs. Harris is on her mark saying that they need to provide a very, very scientific education to the madrasas. Then we come to the same question of Mr. Suman asking why the 8th grade students cannot write the tables even of the class 3. So what is needed in Karnataka or elsewhere in India is the upgradation of scientific schools across India, not only Arabic or Madrasa and the Muslims. Why don't we agree on this core point?
I agree with you. I think everybody's on the same page on that one. Atik, 1 minute. Okay, Karan, last word. 10 seconds. 10 seconds. Ready to end the debate.
In education.
Niranjan, specific problems require specific solutions. Just the way as madrasas are being modernized in UP, that is a template for everyone to follow. In Arabic schools, they are lagging behind in maths and science extensively.
And there is empirical data to suggest what is the percentage of government funding on education?
And it's a small amount. I'll tell you. It's a small amount. 25 crore, 200 schools. I don't think it's such a big deal. I don't think there is need to create such a big deal. I have a very big breaking news update. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you at this point. Smriti, Karan, Subandh and Atik, thank you very much. Mr. Kanchan Gupta is joining me on the phone line. Advisor in the Information and Broadcasting Ministry. Big breaking news story. Kanchan Gupta, you have just tweeted, sir, that the Government of India has amended IT, that is intermediary guidelines, digital media ethics rules. Amended rules make it mandatory for intermediaries like Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, etc. to comply with the Constitution of India provisions and India's sovereign laws. Kanchanda, why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about what this now means, the implications of this, Kanchanda?
See, till now, the big problem which not only India but other countries were facing is that these big tech platforms were insisting that the rules framed by them override sovereign laws and sovereign rules. Now what has been done is that they have to be in compliance with provisions of the Constitution of India. For instance, they cannot be promoting anything which threatens the unity, integrity, defense, security, and sovereignty of India, friendly relations with foreign states, etc. By saying that we allow all kinds of speech. So if they are found to be doing that, they would also be in violation of the amended rules. The second important thing which has been done is that supposing Twitter suspends you, or Twitter decides to, or Facebook decides to block you. Now you can, under the existing provisions, you can approach them for a resolution. Now, in case the resolution does not happen, you can now approach appellate committees which will be set up by the government over the next 3 months. And the appellate committees will be the final arbiter to decide whether what the platform has done, what the intermediary has done is right or wrong. If they decide against the intermediary is obliged to accept and implement the decision of the appellate committee. So, this sort of marks the end of big tech Raj. Now, it is India's sovereignty which shall be supreme. Indian laws, Indian constitution, and Indian dispute resolution mechanism.
Kanchan Gupta, there has been a big sort of a debate on this issue. You've been part of many such debates. Some of these big tech firms, intermediaries, have also tried to push back. Some of them have gone to court. Do they now have a choice?
No, these are notified rules. I mean, you have to be in compliance with them. I mean, there are no ifs and buts. Even if they go to court, the rules will stand.
Yeah, and this is a big move coming on a day when Elon Musk has taken over Twitter. Now there will be changes on Twitter and the way Twitter operates. But I think primarily this debate began with Twitter, Kanchan Gupta. And are you hopeful that all social media intermediaries will comply now without going to court, without kicking or screaming?
They can kick, they can scream, they can go to court, but the government of India has notified new rules that will govern big tech platforms, i.e. intermediaries in the Republic of India.
You had flagged some of these, and you do it on a daily basis almost, to flag how social media is misused and how provisions of our constitution are often violated. What was the threat that you primarily as a journalist, as a user, saw that these social media intermediaries weren't following, that you have flagged yourself?
No, it's very simple. I mean, if Government of India spots, for instance, something which is against, like I read out the provision to you about India's sovereignty and security and defense interests. Now, if Government of India was, in the past, whenever it approached these intermediaries, they said, oh no, our rules allow it, our rules permit it. So the content is not in violation of our rules. Now, you see, their rules cannot be cannot supersede the law in India, and that is the point which has been sort of now been made mandatory. That no, sorry, whatever your rules, whether they are in agreement, whether they are not in agreement with the Constitution of India, with the sovereign laws of India, with the sovereign rules of India, we are sorry, but you have to be in compliance.
Fantastic message. Thank you, Kanchan Gupta, Senior Advisor in the Information and Broadcasting Ministry, for joining us and putting it beautifully. In fact, this has been one of the biggest debates. My colleague Shravan is also joining us on the broadcast. Shravan, this is a big move. We've been debating it for almost 2 years now. I think that's primarily when the debate began 2.5 years ago, with many big tech firms refusing to follow Indian rules, IT laws, and it's come a full circle. They will have no choice now but to follow provisions of the Constitution and the newly amended IT laws. Shravan.
Well, thank you very much, Niranjan, as we're breaking that big move that has been made by the government of India. Remember, there's been a massive debate whether at all social media platforms are liable to follow this. This comes on a day when we have seen that big takeover by Elon Musk, and also the statement that he's actually put out, where he says that the law of land is going to be paramount. So for social media giants like Twitter, Facebook and others, following the law of land would become paramount. And as Kanchan Gupta was also pointing out, that these changes have essentially been made to keep in mind that the multiple grievances that users have had, it does not get the kind of redressal that it should be. And that is the reason why these changes that have essentially been made by the government of India is also with keeping in mind that the users get the benefit of it.
Absolutely. And Shravan, you go through the details of this notification, the guidelines. It's very clear, and it talks about the do's and don'ts. Of course, Twitter, remember Twitter went to court, Shravan. We covered it in great detail, and things, of course, will now change. Many believe that with the coming of Elon Musk, the owning of Twitter, the ownership change will change things and how Twitter functions, their attitude, etc. To countries like India, they will have to, of course, follow the rules. But I think going by the notification, I'm just reading out some of the excerpts of the app, this entire notification that we've accessed. Rule 3, I'm just going through the intermediary shall prominently publish on its website's mobile-based application, as the case may be, the rules and regulation, privacy policy, user agreement, any language specified in the 8th schedule to ensure that people ensure there is compliance. So compliance is one issue they had issues on. That compliance is now taken care of. And the intermediary shall also inform rules and regulations, privacy policy, user agreement. And this is they will have to do it. They will have to upload it, display it, modify, publish, transmit, store, update or share any information. And they will have to make all of this data available. And I think Abhishek is joining us with more details. Shravan, let's also go across to him. Abhishek, this is like in the words of Kanchan Gupta, who's tweeted, he says the big tech Raj, end of the rules framed by the big tech Raj. They had a rule to themselves. They thought that would be the rule they would follow, and they're not liable to the Constitution of India, the laws of India. Does all of that now change? Abhishek.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, remember, Niranjan, these rules are really evolving. We saw how last year the government brought in mechanism by which these platforms, these intermediaries had to have a contact number, a contact person, an address in India so that they could be contacted by the government. And if general public wanted to approach them, there were some coordinates available. And now taking it further, the government is going to set up a grievance redressal committee, which would be made of 3 or more officials, and whenever complaints reach them, insofar as their accounts getting blocked or their content getting filtered out or struck out, this grievance redressal committee would look into it. So there is essentially an oversight mechanism that has been put in place by the government of India over these platforms, which were effectively a law unto themselves, given the fact that they keep most of their servers in the United States or their countries of origin. Also that they have their corporate headquarters in those countries. They pay their taxes there, and they follow the rules of United States or whichever country they are in, but not of India. So I think in that sense, a rules-based architecture, so to say, is being put in with an element of oversight through this committee, which would be looking into grievances from general public. And these are all set to roll out tomorrow. And this is through an amendment. Niranjan, the gadget notification has been brought out, and government's media advisor Kanchan Gupta has tweeted it. And this dovetails, Niranjan, with the ongoing controversy around Meta and Wire. Remember, Wire had come out with a series of stories on how some content on Facebook was filtered or struck out, and that the deletion happened, according to Wire, on the recommendations of the all-powerful IT chief of the BJP. But it so happened that that striking out, in fact, had happened because of an AI-based algorithm, or the artificial intelligence-based software mechanism that these platforms use. Also, Niranjan, this is connected with the takeover of Twitter by Elon Musk. Remember, it is the left versus right narrative which has been panning out, like in the case of India, so in the case of United States as well. And a section within the US population, with the likes of Musk, really the leading lights of that, believing that platforms like Twitter and even Facebook have essentially pandered to a left liberal establishment, and to that extent, those who were on the right of center had a certain disadvantage on these platforms, because of which, in fact, Trump had to go out from Twitter because he was suspended. Now with takeover of Twitter by Musk, and then subsequently in India, we are seeing gradually the government also coming to grips with the problem of big tech, as Kanchanda was explaining just a while back. These rules really come as an aid to the common man against these powerful companies, which have doubled up as media companies as well, essentially tech companies becoming media companies because of the nature and evolution of big tech and these social media platforms. So I think in that sense, this is a significant development, Niranjan, and these rules kick in from tomorrow.
I think Ketna is also joining us on the phone line. Ketna, who heads our the research desk on Republic TV, is joining us with more details. Ketna, why don't you tell us what this means for these big tech firms, and how do things change starting tomorrow?
Absolutely, Niranjan. So what this does is it makes the digital intermediaries more accountable. We remember last year was when the initial IT rules were notified, and we saw the government move forward towards ensuring entities like Twitter and Facebook are accountable under Indian laws. What happens now is everything under the Indian Constitution, so the entire realm of the Indian legal system sort of applies to these digital intermediaries when they're operating in the country. So now, when it's matters of sovereignty, integrity of the nation, they cannot get away anymore. And with the establishment of like a grievance appellate committee, which are completely digital, it ensures that citizens in the country can directly address their grievances to an establishment that will take note of it and ensure intermediaries are held accountable in a time-bound manner. What's significant is also that it's happening from tomorrow onwards.
Ketna, stay with me. Ankit is joining us with the details of the notification that the government of India has just put out. Ankit, the timing is very interesting when things are changing around the world as far as social media and intermediaries go. Ankit, take us through the details, Ankit.
Here is the notification. I'll just read out a few key aspects of it, because apart from the appellate tribunal and also the fact that the rules will be published on the app of whichever social media it also specifies various rules that will be followed, such as the platform shall not publish anything that belongs to another person and to which the user does not have any right, does not publish anything that is obscene, pornographic, pedophilic and invasive of another's privacy, including bodily privacy, insulting or harassing the basis of gender, racially or ethnically objectionable, relating to encouraging money laundering and gambling, or promoting enmity between different groups on the grounds of religion, caste, with the intent to incite violence. is harmful to children, infringes any patent, trademark, copyright or any proprietary rights, deceives or misleads the addressee about the origin of the message, or knowingly and intentionally communicates any misinformation or information which is patently false, impersonates another person, and also threatens the unity, integrity, defense, security or sovereignty of India, friendly relations with foreign states or public order, or causes incitement to the commission of any cognizable offence, or prevents investigation of any offence, or is insulting other nations. So it makes it very clear in the set of rules, and there are more also, and you can read them on republicworld.com, that no one is now allowed to just simply hold the garb of being an intermediary and allow all of these to be published on their platform. They must also spell this on the platform. So that is what the IT rules specify. It's a big news story, and you can read about it and see the entire notification on Republic World.
All right, Ankit, those are details of the notification which you read, with which the government makes it clear to these big tech social media platforms that there is an element of oversight now, that they cannot really ride roughshod over people's sentiments, and that in case they are seen to be dealing with the citizens of India with a heavy hand, there is a mechanism in place now according to which these persons affected by decisions of the big tech can seek redressal. And Ankit, if you could just read that bit or that part of the notification which mentions the membership of the grievance redressal committee that has been put in place. Is it completely made of officials from the government of India, or does it have members of the civil society also joining? If you can share with the viewers for the benefit of their understanding, and also how to approach that committee if people are affected by decisions of these social media platforms.
So absolutely, Abhishek, here's what it says about the Grievance Appellate Committee. It says that each Grievance Appellate Committee shall consist of a chairperson and 2 whole-time members appointed by the central government, of which 1 shall be a member ex officio and 2 shall be independent members. So there is the breakup. It also says any person aggrieved by a decision of the grievance officer may prefer an appeal to the Grievance Appellate Committee within a period of 30 days from the date of receipt of the communication from the grievance officer. So it has the 2-step procedure. It has a appellate committee also, and it also has someone to redress if you are not satisfied with the award adjudicated by that committee.
All right, so, you know, in the case of mainstream media, in the case of newspapers, in the case of television, there are mechanisms in place from the Press Council of India to the respective regulation bodies that television industry has, for example. So in the case of advertising, in fact, there is a very strong oversight mechanism for news television, for example, in the form of an interministerial committee, which works under the overall guidance of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, and they regularly keep sending notices. They watch 24/7, every minute, every second of content going on air. But something like that was missing insofar as social media platforms were concerned. The answer to every question when it came to any wrong was that, oh, this is artificial intelligence, this is robotics, these are bots, these are, machines taking care of content based on certain algorithms. So I think now an element of human oversight has been brought in, which is by itself a great idea, Ankit, and it seems it was in the making for a while. Remember, last year the rules were brought in the IT Act by which these platforms were supposed to maintain an office, not just an office, but coordinates by way of a person who could be contacted in case of a grievance or in case of a complaint. And now the government has decided to take it further and make those amends by which now this committee that you mentioned can be approached in case of any grievance, in case of any wrong done to them. Also, Ankit, if you can tell us, if you can go again back to the rules and find out for us how to approach this committee, where would it be based? Would it be an online system by which you could reach them? And what kind of national presence this committee is going to have, Ankit?
So, I do have an answer to that from the notification itself. it says in point 6, which viewers can read on Republic World, that the Grievance Appellate Committee shall adopt an online dispute resolution mechanism wherein the entire process from filing of appeal to the decision thereof shall be conducted through the digital mode. So that it is very explicit, Abhishek, that not only will this appellate committee and the mechanism to appeal an appellate committee decision be there, it will also be available completely online, and the entire process, no less, the entire process from filing of the complaint to the award of the appellate committee will be made accessible to people online. So this is a digital solution for a digital issue very clearly, and like you rightly pointed out, the rules have stipulated what are the various things that even these intermediaries can and cannot do. Earlier it was completely lacking, and we can point out an example for each of the different matters that they said thou shalt not do. Each of these has come up in the last couple of years, which we have followed very closely. So long overdue, and now most certainly there will have to be a human element. No one can wash their hands off what someone else posts on what they say is their intermediary platform.
Yeah. Absolutely. So platforms like Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, they have now an oversight mechanism by the government to which they will have to subject their decisions in case of grievances by the common masses. On that note, we will take a short break. But after that, the debate with Arnab Buswal.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 10 years. With top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, mass comm, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
Style? For me, it's the pursuit of timeless elegance. Crisp, clean, classic, subtle brilliance. You don't know what it is that catches your eye, but it does, The cut, the color, the lines. There's something in the essence of the evergreen. You feel special, selected. That's when I know I found the right fit. When I feel selected.
BSF has foiled an attempt of Pakistan to smuggle weapons into the Indian territory and have recovered a huge cache of arms and ammunition in the Firozpur sector. It was yesterday evening at around 7 in the evening when the BSF troops that were deployed in the forward area saw a suspected bag, and upon the search they have recovered 3 AK-47 rifles along with the 6 magazines. 3 AK mini rifles, the brand of that is yet to be ascertained, along with the 5 magazines, and 3 pistols along with the 6 magazines have been recovered. The Border Security Force has also recovered a huge cache of ammunition with 200 rounds, 100 rounds of the AK-47 rifles and 100 rounds of the pistol. The pistol is of the Brita made that have been recovered now by the BSF. Pakistan is continuously pushing narcotics and weapons into the Punjab for gangsters and the terrorists so as to destabilize the state, and the events that are happening in the Punjab clearly hints at a larger plot of Pakistan. With Gaurav Sahani, Gursimran Singh for Republic Media Network.
The NHRC on Thursday issued a notice to the Rajasthan government over reports that girls are being auctioned on stamp paper in half a dozen districts of the state, and the refusal thereof is resulting in the rape of their mothers to settle financial disputes on the diktats of caste panchayats. The National Human Rights Commission has taken suo motu cognizance of a media report in this regard.
The National Human Rights Commission has taken suo motu cognizance of the media report that in some districts of Rajasthan, the caste panchayats are very active in redressal of disputes, and especially in the matters where somebody has taken a loan and is unable to pay back the loan. So the caste panchayats force such persons to auction their daughters on stamp paper, and if they deny so, the wife of that person is subjected to sexual assault and rape.
The Rajasthan State Commission